prepared for what I was incorporating because I'm in an incorporated incorporation.
All right. All right, you ready?
Bad.
Oh, shit.
I think we're as good as it's going to be. Oh, no, we're not. We're not live.
We're live.
Are we?
We're live.
Right now?
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chaez Pearson, and it's the Outlet Forum with my esteemed co-host, Chris Camello. What up, Chris?
What up, Chaz? Another week and another week closer to the NBA season, but a lot to get to before that.
We got a full slate this week. We got Magic having comments about Anthony Edwards and a lot of WNBA news with Caitlin Clark and the Fever coming up with a huge win on Wednesday night. And we also got what happened with what KG said on the heels of what Edwards said about Magic Johnson and everybody in that previous era. But Chris, tell me about, let's start off with that first. What did you make of not only Magic's reply to Edwards, but also what KG had to say on the heels of that about guys not being able to play in past generations?
Yeah. First of all, the Magic Man, he was a little cold-blooded with that. I don't talk about anybody who, didn't have a championship before. He talked about, I guess I lost my partner here, so I'm flying solo right now. No, but he basically said about the importance of winning a championship and how he doesn't really pay mind to anyone who hasn't won a championship and hasn't won a national championship. And Mick did all of those within 4 months of each other. And we talked about this last week. That you back with me, partner?
I got you. Keep going.
All right, cool. Just wanted to make sure, man. Who am I going to throw these lobs to if you're not next to me? Like Joanna Man says, I can't pass the thing to myself, can I? But anyways, I was saying, no, Magic, and Chaz, I mentioned this to you last week. Magic Johnson was one of the most accomplished players in his first year of the league. Why? Because he won a national championship at Michigan State in 79. I'm sorry, in 78. And then, what's that? And then in 80, he wins an NBA championship, beating Julius Erving and the Philadelphia 76ers, and then getting the Lakers back on a championship track. That was the first of 5 championships during the Showtime era. So, when you hear comments like Anthony Edwards saying guys weren't that skilled and it took guys a long time to win championships, that's just simply not true. So, I don't blame Magic for saying what he said. Magic is going to always, speak from the heart. And this is one of the most accomplished basketball players in the history of the game. And if you're going to take anyone's opinion seriously, it's his, and it wasn't just him who spoke up. You heard what Kevin Garnett said with Paul Pierce on their show, saying that, guys wouldn't be able to play 20 years ago. And Kevin Garnett isn't that far removed from the league. So even if you want to say, oh, Magic is an old head and he doesn't know how it is, Kevin Garnett's only 5 years. He's 5 years removed from the league before Anthony Edwards came in. So this is a guy who isn't that far removed from the NBA. He's played with many of these guys who are still in the league today, former NBA champion, Hall of Famer, to me, top 5 power forward of all time. And not to mention, he doesn't get enough credit for this, Chaz, paved the way for prep stars who wanted to make the jump from high school to the NBA. I know people usually give that credit to Kobe, but you got to give it to Kevin Garnett because he did it 1 full year before Kobe did. Yeah, so
Farragut Academy.
The game is, Farragut Academy, Chicago's own. Kevin Garnett, pain in the ass if you're a Laker fan, because he always stomped on the Lakers in Minnesota or Boston. He had some of his best nights against LA. And of course, we don't need to be reminded about the '08 championship. But my point being, with these guys speaking up, these are two of the most accomplished players in the history of the game who are saying what they have to say. And I know Michael Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser spoke on it too, Chaez, on Pardon the Interruption. And what it comes down to, and I said this, if you don't know what you're talking about, it's okay to sit things out. You know what I mean? And I know you had a different perspective on it, but when Anthony Edwards said what he said, and I love the Ant-Man. We all love the Ant-Man. Even Magic and Kevin Garnett probably love the Ant-Man. But these are times where it shows your immaturity. And I go back to what I said last week. So I don't blame Magic or KG saying what they said because they're speaking on it from experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I like what Magic said about not even really addressing anybody that hasn't won a championship. Like, if you haven't won a championship, then you can't even talk about me. You know what I mean? So, and Magic normally doesn't really touch guys up like that. You know, he normally sticks to his generic tweets online, his posts, coming out talking about things long after they've actually happened. But for him to, you know, comment on it, be pretty boisterous in how he decided to retort back to him, and just kind of keep it going from there. So I liked what he said, and especially being a Laker, obviously, you know, he's like, man, get this kid out of here. So, but here's the thing: Anthony Edwards is going to win something in this league, so I think he better think about his takes a little bit more before he speaks, because his game is going to do a whole lot of talking. So if he says things that are just off the wall and his game doesn't really back it up, then it's not really going to add up to fans and things like that. So I just really think he should watch really what he says a little bit more. But I get that's what makes Ant, kind of like what makes Charles Barkley is saying some of the stuff that they do or that he does.
Sure.
But Charles Barkley is a Hall of Famer. Ant Edwards got a long ways to go. Like, this past year was the first year that he's really bursted on the scene, and everybody on a national level, obviously hoop heads like you and me and people that are watching this show right now and other people know who Ant Edwards was, but he hasn't even, you know, won a championship in college, let alone the NBA. And Magic said, I don't even know if he won something in high school. So
probably
I think
didn't.
he should watch a little bit more of what he said. I like really, again, how Magic got at him, but KG, here's the thing about KG. KG is always going to keep it real, regardless of his delivery. His delivery may not always be right on point or politically correct or, you know, what everybody's cup of tea is, but KG is always really going to keep it real for the most part.
Sure.
So I'm good with KG and what he said and how he wanted to keep it. And do you think really that guys really couldn't play 20 years ago? I think that
certain players are always could. Yeah.
I mean, but that's every player in every generation. If you go from generation to generation, you know,
sure, yeah.
But I think ultimately most guys that are great in generation to generation are usually going to continue to be great from generation to generation, in my opinion. So
sure,
guys like LeBron, Kobe, Jordan, Iverson, Shaq, Larry Bird, like regardless of what generation or time or era, Bill Russell, that you put him in, those guys would adapt and be great either way. So the whole guys can't play in this time or that time thing doesn't really doesn't really sit well with me ultimately when anybody says it, not just KG.
Sure. I mean, the game is obviously different, right? I mean, it's faster. Guys, it seems like everyone now has a three-point shot. Chaez, that was not the case. You could even make the argument that wasn't even the case 10, 15 years ago, where everyone had a three-point shot. You still had big men in the post. You still had big men who settled just for the mid-range game. Now it's like you've got 4s and 5s, centers and power forwards who can't even spell the word post, let alone post up. They're doing everything on a pick and pop. They're rolling out to that three-point line. So it's a different type of skill, you know, and maybe these guys are in a sense faster, more athletic, more dynamic. I think you can make that argument, but to say that the guys 30, 40, 50 years ago weren't skilled, I think is a slap in the face and borderline disrespectful. And I don't think that's where Ant was trying to go. I still believe that. And maybe it's the competitive edge too. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but those comments, if you phrase them the wrong way, can be seen as blatant disrespect for guys who've accomplished a lot more than you have, even at your age. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Be careful with these comments that you make. I'm not saying don't keep it real. I'm not saying don't be honest, but you weren't even being honest. You were talking out of your rear because you didn't really, you even admitted, I didn't watch a lot of players who. And don't forget, guys paved the way. There would be no Anthony Edwards if there was no Kobe Bryant. There would be no Kobe Bryant if there wasn't Michael Jordan. There wouldn't be a Michael Jordan if there wasn't Julius Erving. And get this, Chaez, there wouldn't be a Julius Erving if there wasn't Elgin frickin' Baylor back in the day, who actually was the first dynamic wing player who dominated this game. You know what I'm saying?
I'll take it a step further. There would be no Elgin Baylor without Curly Neal.
Yeah, Curly. Yep. Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. You paved the way. But don't disrespect those who paved the way. You're making the type of salaries, and I pointed this out last week, if you remember. The reason why the salaries are the way they are is because those that came before you helped create this NBA league to be a global sensation, where the sponsors, the advertisers, the fans, the merch, the concessions, obviously it was generated by David Stern. And even you could even make an argument, Larry O'Brien before that. But Stern, really, he put kerosene on that little campfire that Larry O'Brien started. And he had a lot of great ideas. Stern was flawed, no question about it. A lot of players like Rasheed Wallace, have a disdain to him. But you can't deny that the league is where it's been over the last 20, 30 years without David Stern's ideas and his innovations starting in the mid-'80s when he took over as commissioner. So, I just want to keep all of that in perspective. That's all. I'm not going to beat Ant to death with this like Magic or KG are. Mostly Magic, but I think KG, that comment was generated from this situation. I just think it's important to understand the history so that we could appreciate the game for where it is today. If you don't understand where you came from, you don't know how to move forward. I mean, I think I got that right. I think I got that.
You got that right. You got that right. Well, we'll shift back over. We'll get back to the NBA in a little bit, but let's shift over to the ladies because Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are absolutely tearing it up in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark set a rookie record for threes made on Wednesday evening or tonight, I should say, in the Fever's win. And it looks like Angel Reese has just had rebound game after rebound game, and she's setting records as well. And Caitlin Clark is obviously the go-ahead favorite and the leader in the house for Rookie of the Year. But Chris, I want to ask you: Does Reese have a legit claim to at least some votes, or should Caitlin Clark be the runaway unanimous Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, and I wonder if they're going to judge this. I wonder if this is going to be judged ultimately on team success, right? I know Rookie of the Year, most of the time it's based on stats. And Caitlin Clark, another strong game tonight, and they beat Connecticut. I mean, that's no slouch of a win right there. So I think Clark is going to probably be the front runner right now, but you can't deny what Angel Reese has done this year. She's been a double-double machine. I know a lot of people are knocking, well, she can't score around the rim, so she's following her own miss. But you know what? Even if that's stat padding or whatever, she's still doing something. She's still getting, offensive boards and whatnot. And she's, putting together, good numbers on most nights. Caitlin Clark, the same thing. Clark just broke another record tonight. WNBA rookie record for most threes hit by a rookie. I think she hit 3 tonight, so she's at 88 now. But yeah, I think right now Clark should be the front runner, but I think Reese is going to get some votes too. This is going to be similar, Chaez. I don't want to go back to the NBA, but similar to what we saw from Wembanyama and Chet. You know what I mean? Where it's like
Okay.
Wemby was the number one, but you knew Chet was going to get some votes too,
I mean, but
largely
look
because
at
of team
Chris.
success. Yo,
I don't mean to cut you off, but I mean,
no, go ahead. I was
look at
done.
where she's pulling from right now, though. You know, like when you watch her
Yeah,
play, the way Caitlin Clark just plays is different. You know, like the way she's
yeah,
moving the ball, playing the high pick and roll game, getting the defender off of her, bringing in the help to kick it out to the corner for a three. I mean, it just gets realer and realer every single game that she plays, and she's not pulling from just WNBA
no,
range. She's pulling from NBA range in a
yep,
lot of these as well. So
yeah,
like, and the step back is just absolutely dirty. The behind the back pass to the top of the key. I mean, my gosh.
yeah. No, I agree with you, my friend. I agree with you. Like I said, she's going to be the front runner. I'm just saying Reese. I just don't think we should discount Reese yet. But honestly, Chaz, I think if Clark is in the lead and the Fever somehow make the playoffs, which I don't know if they will, but if they somehow make the playoffs, that is the nail in the coffin right there. She's going to get that Roy, and she's going to put it up there. And I think and going back to what you were saying, pulling up, we haven't seen something like this in the WNBA. I think we've seen players like Angel Reese. We've seen Candace Parker. We're seeing Asia Wilson, Stewie, Maya Moore, Neko Ogumake, Shanae Ogumake. We've seen great, I don't want to say, I want to say great female front court players, right? And I think Reese, not taking anything away from it, but I think people may vote on kind of been there, done that. Clark is something different. Yes, we've seen great WNBA guards, Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, but among others, many others. I'm not trying to leave anybody out. And for front court players, Lisa Leslie, of course, I can't forget her. But watching how Clark competes every night, how she's changing the game with her three-point shooting, it's making the game more enjoyable and more fun. And she is now could be considered the WNBA version of Steph Curry. Let me know what you think on that.
Not just yet. Not just. I mean, eventually she's on that trajectory.
Style of play. I just meant style of play.
Style of play, but I mean, eventually,
not
I
accomplishments.
think eventually she will be. But in terms of style of play, yeah, I mean, she's. But here's the thing. Here's one thing that I want to say: the whole WNBA as an entire game, as a collective. And you asked me this question offline if I thought that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese has pretty much completely changed the WNBA game. No, it was already on this trajectory. So it's kind of like, I don't know if I can equate it politically. Don't want to get too political, but like inflation. Inflation was already on the rise before Joe Biden came into play. But, there's only one administration that gets the heat for it, right? Sure. But even though it was already going in that direction. So the WNBA was already headed in a direction, but now Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese jump in the game. And obviously they had their stuff in college, right? It was something on a national level that happened in college that carries over to the WNBA. It's the first time that's happened since the WNBA has really been around since 1997, I believe. So I just think ultimately for Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, they didn't completely change the game, but they're taking it to a whole nother level because there's so many eyeballs, not only on them as individuals, but their games and also the trajectory that the WNBA was already on, because they have been getting better with marketing their players. They're coming to better deals. They're taking better care of their players, or they've struck in deals to do so in the future. So I like where they're headed. And ultimately, it's going to be Caitlin Clark that gets the Rookie of the Year. I could see if this was MVP, but for Rookie of the Year, it's not even close. I think she's minus 1,600 on the best bet to win. Wow. Meaning you got to bet 1,600 just to win 100.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And by the way, shout out to the people following us on, I know I got my IG live stream going right now. Nick Hamilton is on there. My girl, Carla, the Nightmare King. Hey, this is funny. Do you guys believe KG is a fake tough guy? This is a question, Chaz, from the Nightmare King on the IG live. I wanted you to field that one real quick before we continue.
No, I don't think KG is a fake tough guy. I think KG is the realest of the real, and I'll just leave it at that. He means everything he says, and twice on Sunday.
Couldn't agree with you more. He also said Ant is a WWE character, just says stuff to be controversial. I'm not sure. I don't think it's there. He's a young guy. He's brash. I mean, we can't act like we haven't seen this before. Kobe was brash at times as well. So, we've got to kind of keep these things in perspective. Even I'm trying to do that right now. So, just wanted to point that out. Going back to the WNBA, you said something, you answered the question I gave you offline, and I just wanted to respond to that. I agreed that the trajectory was going up, but like I was saying earlier we started a campfire, now somebody comes in and puts kerosene on that. That's sort of what Reese and Clark have done, and I think everyone is feeling the effects. And this is what I thought these two could bring to the WNBA, which is viewership, which is more interest, which is more TV ratings, which leads to more advertising, which leads to more sellout crowds. Who was it? It was the Connecticut Sun and the LA Sparks last week. They sold out the TD Garden in Boston. So that is also a side effect, a byproduct, I should say, of the popularity that these players have done have brought to the table. And even Angel Reese now going to start a new podcast on Unapologetically Angel. And I'm sure it's going to allow I think more fans are going to be more tuned in with that because they want to hear what she has to say and how she lives her life and everything. And it's going to bring not just, female viewers or female listeners, but male viewers as well. So this is something we haven't necessarily seen in the WNBA. I agree. The trajectory was going this way the last 2-3 years, but I don't think, Chaez, and you got to agree with me on this, we haven't seen this at this level with the WNBA since probably the inception of the league.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that because the way that they're playing, the way that they're marketing, going to the games is, for lack of a better term, looking cooler. It's like the cooler thing to do now to go to WNBA games, especially for celebrities that want to sit on, courtside, especially during the summertime when there aren't really any other games going on. Baseball isn't as popular, for celebrities as it is, to be courtside or to be seen. So, the WNBA is definitely picking up. And as long as they continue to market their players and market their game and take advantage of the waves that come their way, I think they'll be just fine.
Yeah, in the right direction. Not to mention, Chaez, Delta partnered with the WNBA over this past week too. Tell me that major story associated with the WNBA 10, 15 years, maybe since the league started. And now Delta, a major airline in the U.S., has partnered with the WNBA. That's massive, dude.
Oh, yeah. Big sponsor. So hopefully they'll be able to charter some better flights and take care of their players a lot better. So they definitely deserve it. But getting back real quick to the WNBA, I'm sorry, not the WNBA, enough of the WNBA really quick. There's a hell of a documentary that's supposed to be coming out. And I thought that this was a documentary that was in the works, but I wasn't able to get it confirmed for a long time. But Starting Five with Anthony Edwards, Domantas Sabonis, Jason Tatum, Jimmy Butler, and LeBron James is coming out on October the 9th, I believe, Chris. No, October the 12th.
October the 12th, yeah.
September
9th. Yeah, September 9th. I was going to say, I thought I heard September. Yeah.
Thank God I don't work for the actual company putting it out on Netflix because I definitely butchered that. But
you got too many pots on the stove right now, Chaez. You got too many pots right now.
I can't wait to see it. If it's anything like quarterback and receiver, I'm looking forward to it. Chris, what do you expect from this documentary? It covers pretty much all of last season. So you think of who had, obviously the Celtics won, the Heat had an interesting season. The Kings weren't as good, so you probably will see Sabonis a little bit more frustrated. What do you expect from this documentary, and what's your take on it?
Yeah, I was excited to see that. I know we had been hearing about this for a while, and I think first of all, you couldn't have picked 5 more diverse players, and I think 5 guys that are going to be fun to watch. It's certainly not just on the basketball level, but certainly the personality level. I mean, Jason Tatum, to me, no disrespect, great player, little boring. But hopefully this show shows the lighter side of him. LeBron, of course, is polarizing. Like him, hate him. You're going to tune in. You know, LeBron is what LeBron is to our society and culture now, Chaez, what Howard Stern was for 30, 40 years in radio. Like him or hate him, you were going to be talking about him. You know what I mean? Anthony Edwards. I could sum it up in 3 words. His words. Bring your ass. That's Jimmy Buckets. I mean, he's a little wacky. I mean, we've seen it with the hairstyles on Media Day. That should be fun. And Domantas Sabonis, I kind of want to see, you know, the connection maybe with Arvydas, and that'll kind of give you maybe a broader look at who he is as a person, because, you know, we don't know a lot about these guys. So I think it's going to be great. And like you said, if it's anything like quarterback, and I've even seen a few episodes of receiver, my girl just turned me on to receiver. You know, she's a big football fan as well. You know, it's going to be great. And I think it's definitely something to be excited about, because Chaez, you want to know one of the things that people liked most about The Last Dance, in addition to hearing the stories, they liked the camera stuff on the sidelines. They liked seeing the stuff in the locker room, the conversations that you wouldn't normally get access to. You know what I'm saying? Like, even for example, backstage Dodgers, backstage Lakers, it's
those are the best shows, man.
They are, but they don't even go past a certain point. You know what I'm saying? I think these guys will. These shows that Netflix is doing with receiver and quarterback, and of course with you know, now with the starting 5 with the NBA, I think it's gonna be fun to watch. It's gonna be great.
I like how Netflix is putting money, like really putting money into some of these shows that they're doing now. Like, that's a lot of money to pay the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Lakers, the Heat, the Celtics, all this money to be able to follow their players around and have that kind of access day after day, practice after practice, game after game. So I'm excited to see it. Obviously, I'm just looking forward to seeing the LeBron James and the Jason Tatum part, because the Celtics actually won, and really to see the behind the scenes for the Lakers or really just LeBron by himself is pretty interesting. Also, to see Jimmy Butler and see what the Miami Heat organization is like on a day-to-day, you know, what it's like maybe driving to and from the house for games in Miami. I'm not that excited to find out about Sabonis in Sacramento, especially given the season that they had. So, but I think I like how they're putting money into it, and it should be interesting to watch. I'll be watching every episode. And shame on you, man. You still haven't finished Receiver?
No, I have not finished Receiver. Sorry, man. Yeah.
Finish it, man. It's good.
Hey,
especially Kittle. Kittle is great in that, man.
Dude, Kittle's awesome. And I want to see Devontae Adams and everything. The Kittle episode, which was pretty much most of the first episode, it was awesome. You know, and I'm not, as you know, I'm not a huge Niners fan. I'm a Rams fan, but still, I respect these guys and their stories and what they've been through and how they met their wives and the day-to-day and all of that stuff. And even the off days, because once again, Chaez, we forget these are human beings. We forget that these are people with families, with parents, with wives, with kids, with dogs, with houses, with the same things that you and I deal with on a day-to-day basis, you know? So, you know, once again, to quote the Ant-Man, bring your ass.
Well, before we get on out of here, appreciate everybody tapping in with us tonight. This is a short version of the Outlet Forum. We'll be doing some longer shows once the season starts.
Our connections get better.
And when our connections get better, oh my gosh, like we definitely we go into the next level with the connection, definitely before the next show. But last topic, Mamba Day had passed about 3, 4, 5 days ago. We just haven't been able. We had a show, I think maybe a couple days after that. Mamba Day officially is on 8/24, which was this past Saturday. We got to always take a moment because Kobe and what he meant. Obviously, you'll see that over my shoulder. You'll see, you know, obviously being in Los Angeles and talking basketball. You know, Kobe is what he was or still is to a lot of us as basketball fans. But just wanted to give us a couple minutes, man. What was one of your favorite Mamba Day memories of the Mamba? It doesn't have to be specifically on Mamba Day because obviously it's not in season, but Mamba Day was actually a thing before he passed as well. A lot of people think that it's only been a thing since he passed. It was already a thing prior to him even retiring, to be honest with you.
Right.
Like in the summertime and things like that when he was gearing up for training camp. So just wanted to throw that nugget out there for those of you that didn't know. But Chris, what's some of your Mamba memories for this past Mamba Day, this past Saturday?
Oh, for sure. It's been obviously a month. August is always rings a little bit differently because first of all, this year they unveiled the other Kobe statue, the second of 3 featuring, which is beautiful, by the way. I look forward to, when I go to a Laker game, hopefully this season or back next time I'm in downtown to go seeing it. And then obviously it was his birthday on Friday, 8/24. Kobe Day, also my niece's birthday, which is great, on Saturday. And then the Dodgers did a jersey giveaway, for Kobe on Sunday, and his daughter Bianca threw out the first pitch.
Which I was there for. That was great.
Yep.
That was
great video, by the way, partner. Great video, by the way. Chaz had his own family day. That was good. That was
made sure to make a family day out of Kobe Day, Mamba Day weekend.
Yes, sir.
Took my daughter to her first game. That was special for sure.
That was cool. That was a nice pick, by the way, and a good video you got of the first pitch from Bianca.
Kobe's, Bianca, yeah. And then
Kobe's third daughter to Mookie Betts, and no, it was great. And then Mookie hits a 2-run home run to essentially win the game. But yeah, going back to Kobe, obviously he meant so much to the Lakers. He meant so much to the city of Los Angeles, to the world abroad. Whether you liked or didn't like the Lakers, you respected what Kobe Bryant brought to the table. That's just who he was. He was a competitor. He worked really hard. Even after the championships, he never rested on his laurels. He was always finding ways to get better, and there's too many memories to list. One of my favorites, though, still to this day, I go back to regular season finale, April of 2004. Portland. The
Ruben
2 seed is
Patterson.
on the line. The 2 seed is on the line. And Kobe sticks a big-time 3 to send the game into overtime over Ruben Patterson. And then in overtime, knocks down another 3, slides right behind Patterson and nails another big-time 3. That was huge. April of 2004, going into the playoffs.
I want to know which one, just really quick, which one is better? The one over Ruben Patterson or the one over Ratliff? Same game.
Yeah.
Regulation or OT, which one's better?
Because Ruben Patterson was known as the Kobe stopper, you got to go with the Patterson one.
But the way he dropped in that swish,
that was
the way that he
raindrop right there.
That swish was amazing.
What was your favorite Kobe memory? Playoffs, regular season?
My best favorite memory of Kobe all time has to be the shot in Portland. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking Portland, what you just said. Game 4, Phoenix, game winner to go up 3-1. It was the pinnacle, man. It was the absolute pinnacle.
2006
of
playoffs.
2006 playoffs after Smush Parker did what he did.
The steal.
And Kobe being able to get that tip from Luke Walton. I think I have it right here.
Hey, Chaz, that's fine. Before you do, I just want to give a shout out to our guy, Jonathan Watson, joining us on the YouTube feed. Sports For You podcast. Hey, fellas, thanks again for joining us last night. Yeah, Chaz and I were guests on the Sports For You podcast. We did a little NFC preview, talked Rams, the Ernest Jones trade. Check that out on YouTube. Follow at Sports For You. Follow our guy, Jonathan Watson, our former Showtime Forum Familia. But yeah, let's check this out, man. It's a good way to end the show right here, Chaz.
Man, I mean, when he got it right here, you knew it was going in. It was straight buckets, man. It was just absolute pandemonium. Lamar Odom, Sasha, Tim Thomas. He ended up breaking our hearts in 2 games later in Game 6. That was absolutely,
you can't see me.
But Rajah Bell.
D'Antoni.
Oh man. Yeah, that was special.
Chaz, it was a good shot. It was a good shot,
It was special. What a time. What a time.
Yeah, no, we had too many memories. I mean, and you could even list like that. Remember the game winner he had over Ray Allen in Boston in 2009, 2010. There was just so many great game winners, and even the random ones like Milwaukee on a Tuesday night. he hit a shot over Charlie Bell to win it, in Milwaukee, or, the 3-pointer on New Year's Day over Sergio Rodriguez against the Sacramento Kings back in 08 or 09. So, I mean, there were just so many great moments. I mean, you can't even list them all. The 60-point game to close out his career, Chaez. The guy was just a competitor, and I just feel like he was just, even though he had won an Oscar and everything, he was starting that second leg of his life. And I was really looking forward to seeing what else he would have done, in basketball, in life, film, TV. It's a shame.
And the fact that he left this earth with an Oscar to his name is amazing. So on that note, appreciate you guys tapping in with us, Outlet Forum. We'll see you guys next week. We got another great show coming week in and week out. Can't wait for the season to start. But we'll still be talking WNBA. You guys know where to follow us. Follow me on Instagram at Chaez P, on Twitter, X at Chaez Pearson. Follow the show at The Outlet Forum on all platforms, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, X, you name it. Chris, where can they follow you, my man?
I got it on here at Chris_Camello on X/Twitter, whatever you want to go at CCamello1 on Instagram, Facebook. I also shared Chaz's stream on Facebook, so follow me, Chris Camello there. And of course, the Outlet Forum on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you want to follow us, we're on there.
You name it. Well, until next time, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys for tapping in. We'll see you later. Peace.